Years 897, France has a new king, Charles the Simple. Don't worry. Charles the Simple just meant honest, or that he kept forgetting where he left his crown. In England, the Anglo-Saxons were busy not dying. King Alfred had just kicked some Viking butt again, probably somewhere writing a scroll titled How to Cook a Viking in 10 Easy Steps. In China, the Tang dynasty had just collapsed, so you think your government's in shambles? At least no one put your old boss on trials after he dies. But that's not why we are here. It's a sunny day in Rome. Birds are chirping somewhere, a monk is inventing pasta, probably. And in the middle of it all, a courtroom with a corpse wearing papal robes. And get this is not a Halloween party. Matter of fact, it's an actual trial, with an actual defendant, dead for months. The judge is also, what is this? Very much alive and very much angry. Welcome to the Cadaver Synod, the weekend at Popey's. Why is there a trial for a dead pope? Be warned, this has more backstabbing than a group project in high school. 800s Rome was absolute disaster, a hot mess with a crown, also well known as the Holy Roman Empire. The church, basically between spiritual leadership and who gets the coolest hat. Popes were popping in and out of office like it was a temp job. One pope lasted just 15 days, the other not as lucky. He had his eyes gouged at his benefits package in line with vision insurance. Popes were being installed. Usually after the first one got stabbed, exiled, or mysteriously fell down a staircase. Imagine Game of Thrones, but everyone's in robes and no one bathes. Then came Pope Formosus. His resume. Bishop of Portus, exiled once and may or may not have invited a foreign king to invade Italy. You know, normal church stuff. He made enemies, big ones. Stephen VI type, a guy who made holding grudges an Olympic sport. Formosus would eventually die, and Stephen thought, I could forgive him, or just dig him up and yell at his corpse in the courtroom, and guess which one he picked. You've got bishops in their fancy robes, and nobles whispering about gossip, and right in the middle, a dead pope? That's right, Formosus' dead corpse. Well, corpse was propped up on a throne like some kind of undead VIP guest. The trial begun with charges that sound like a medieval soap opera, accusations of illegal papal elections, violation of church rules, and maybe he just wasn't cool enough. The defendant couldn't even respond. Not for the sake of drama, but because, well, he was literally dead. Lucky for him, he had a lawyer. Objection! He shouted at thin air, the judge probably wishing he was anywhere else. Meanwhile, the corpse sat there quietly rotting, despite the clear and obvious problem that the accused had zero chance to defend himself. The trial moved forward. Guilty! The corpse was stripped of his papal garments and denied Christian burial, medieval equivalent of being canceled for eternity. That's how you lose a trial, even when you are dead. Truly, medieval justice was something else. So you dig up a dead pope, dress him in robes, yell at him in a courtroom, and sentence his bones. What could go wrong? Turns out, everything. People weren't just confused, they were furious. Even by medieval standards, this was a new low. Priests were horrified. Nobles were embarrassed. The average Roman citizen just wanted to go 1 week without a new religious scandal. Whispers of desecration, heresy, and this guy's nuts spread through the city. And Stephen VI? The guy who started this whole undead legal circus? He quickly went from holy father to holy crap, he's lost it. He tried to defend himself. Probably said something like, no, you don't understand. The corpse had it coming. It didn't help. Riots broke out. Churches were stormed. Public opinion hit rock bottom. Eventually, the backlash got so bad that Stephen was arrested by his own allies. They threw him in prison, and not long after, he was strangled to death, which, in medieval Rome, basically meant you lost the argument. Meanwhile, Formosus, corpse on trial, suddenly got popular, like a medieval comeback tour. His body was retrieved from the Tiber River, reburied, and reinstated as a proper pope. No hard feelings, just centuries of theological trauma. So, to recap, one pope digs up another. The living pope gets murdered. The dead pope wins. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a papal faceplant. Live in Rome, starring skeletons, swords, and zero chill. You'd think the story ends with a strangled pope and a reburied skeleton. But medieval church politics never stop at the reasonable conclusion. Enter the next popes, plural, because this era had more leadership turnover than a cursed Dungeons & Dragons campaign. One pope comes in and says, "Yeah, let's undo that corpse trial. That was weird." So Formosus is declared innocent. Again. But then another pope shows up and says, "Actually, corpse trials are totally valid. Bring them back." Then he dies. And guess what? His replacement goes, "Nope. We're Team Formosus again." This flip-flopped for years. Every new pope basically had to answer the one awkward question: where do you stand on yelling at corpses? And if your answer was yes, congratulations, you just made enemies. It was like papal politics had turned into the world's worst game of Uno. Reverse, skip, dig up corpse, draw 4. Eventually, the church passed a rule, probably scribbled in panic, that said, hey, maybe we stop putting dead people on trial. So what did we learn? That popes are people too. People with grudges and really questionable ideas. That trials are supposed to involve living defendants. If you like this disaster, congratulations. You have a dark sense of humor and a healthy distrust of authority. You should probably subscribe. If not, well, good luck the next time someone tries to sue a skeleton.